This is Bitsy Tulloch, and you are listening to Superman and Lois and Pals.
Greetings, super friends. Welcome to Superman and Lois and Pals. I'm Henry Bernstein, and alongside me is my favorite super pal, Professor Sam Brody. All right, Sam. So as of today, October 15th, the day we're recording, one day after the episode 3 of season 4 of Superman and Lois, James Gunn dropped the first image of Crypto, the super dog. Instant reactions. Sam, now's your chance.
I'm pro crypto, and the post that he wrote to go with the picture was really endearing. I don't mind if they give crypto an arc. That's fine with me. If he's going to be like a perfect dog, it would be cool if they showed him starting out not being a perfect dog. I think that gives Clark an opportunity to demonstrate some patience and care and kindness to animals, which is part of the whole deal. So, yeah, I feel like crypto is one of those things like Robin that they just like don't do when they're trying to make the movies quote unquote grounded.
Grounded and serious. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I'm watching The Penguin and I like it, but it's like a gangster show.
Right. It's a gangster show. It's not a Batman
There's
show.
right. So like it's
Yeah.
like why does it have to be the Penguin? There's like no real reason it needs to be the Penguin. They could
Yeah,
have just
it could
called
be Tulsa King. It could be Tony Soprano. It's right.
right. They could
Right.
just call it the Corleones
Right.
and like
Right.
not the Corleones, the Falcones and just
Falcones.
like
Yeah.
whatever.
By the
But
way, it is amazing. It is really, really good.
yeah, I do like it. I think
It's my favorite thing that I'm watching on TV right now.
Christina Milioti is doing an amazing job.
Yes.
My point is just that Superman has a dog that can fly.
Yeah,
Like
right, right. You have to lean if you're a crypto guy, you have to lean into the silliness of that this is a comic book with the word comic in it.
I feel, by the way, it similarly about the Fortress of Solitude in all of the TV shows and really in the movies too. They just make it look like a cave, and it should not be a cave to me. It should be like a museum. There should be
Like,
hallways
yeah,
with things in them that are like awesome and
the
like
Silver Age version of it.
yes, that's the
Yes.
Fortress of Solitude to me. It should have the door with the key that is I will accept either the big key or the tiny key that weighs 2,000 tons that no one can pick up except him.
And you, I think, and as we talked about last season, or was it 2 seasons ago, you like Bizarro's Square World and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That they did. I was very happy.
Right, right. I remember. So, yeah, I think Sam, if I can sum up, you're pro crypto, the super dog, and you're pro when Superman adaptations of Superman comics lean into the kind of goofy stuff if it's done well.
Yeah, I want to qualify it, right? Like I that doesn't mean I want the writing to be corny.
Right, right, right.
Right.
Totally.
I just want them to figure out a balance between like we're nowadays, for example, you can't really have stylized dialogue. Like audiences will not put up with stylized dialogue. All dialogue has to feel realistic to people. I think it would be interesting if you remember Batman Brave and the Bold, like
Uh-huh.
there was stylized dialogue and it worked because it was a cartoon.
Right.
But like I think in live action, people will not really accept it.
I mean, the new Batman Cape Crusader had it. It had like a 1940s kind of feel.
Yeah, if they're gonna do verisimilitude with dialogue, if they feel like they have to, fine. And you don't even have to do the thing that so many of these writers do, which is where they make some character constantly comment
Yeah.
on how weird everything is.
Right.
Like, okay, there's a flying dog now.
Right.
Like,
The nerd who's pointing out all the meta joke, who's being the
right,
meta joke. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I can trust James Gunn on that stuff. I mean, on the movie making stuff. Like he's
Hmm.
proven he knows how to make a movie. I just, I think here's all that I have to say about Crypto. He's a good boy.
Hmm.
Did you see the animated movie with
Yeah, yeah, sure, of
yeah,
course.
it's amazing. Like
Hmm.
it's one of my kids' favorite movies. I loved it. My wife cries every time she sees it. So, if you lean into crypto, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I want Superman to be a dog guy. Clark Kent should own a dog.
I also think that crypto gives, again, you want as many possible points that people can be fans of. And there will be
Yes.
people who are just crypto fans who
Right.
don't care about anything else, and they will just be into this because crypto is awesome.
Right.
I'm just like saying that that's how it's going to be. So,
Well, parents also are going to want to take their kids to this, and their kids are
hmm
going to want to go to it. So
hmm
you're going to have to do that balancing act.
I will say also that if in the future, if this is successful and they get chances to do more stuff, I think they probably will not get much of a chance if Supergirl World of Tomorrow is anything like the comic, unless they change the tone drastically. A sequel to that is not going to offer an opportunity to bring in
Streaky.
Streaky
Streaky.
or Comet.
Or Beppo.
I love Beppo. Bring on Beppo.
Well, Crypto plays a key role in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow in the comics, doesn't he? Isn't Crypto alongside her?
Yes, but Streaky is not.
Right. But, it could just.
I think it would be cool, again, only if this like is successful. Like the way that they could do something along the lines of what I would like to see is if they do a Mixes Pitlick who, even if they do the Grant Morrison one, right? And it's like actually kind of hardcore and serious. There
From
could be
the
a,
new 52?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
in that crazy plot where he attacks him in all points of his life at once
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
takes that fifth dimension stuff really seriously. But even if they did that, Mixes Pitlick could turn everything really Silver Agey for a minute. And then they could like bring in all of that stuff for like
Hmm.
a 10-minute sequence or something, you know?
Right, where he changes reality a little bit.
Yeah, have blue
Yeah.
kryptonite, have gold kryptonite, bring
Mhm.
in Beppo, bring in Comet, and then like whatever you can change it.
Yeah.
Get Kurt Swan
Right.
style on
Right.
top of everybody, you know.
Right. Right. Cool. I'll go for it. I was happy to see, especially, after we recorded last, and while I wasn't trying to be down on the movie, I, was recognizing that the movie's success is on the grave of this show. So, I couldn't help but feeling a little down. So I was happy to see Crypto, something from Superman stuff that I really enjoy. And I
Mhm.
was like, good, lean into that. All right. Well, shall we talk about Superman and Lois?
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about Superman and Lois season 4, episode 3, Always My Hero. Directed by David Giuntoli, written by Brent, Fletcher, and Todd Helbing. The Apple TV and IMDb description is: reeling from failure, Jordan begins to spiral. Jonathan discovers newfound strength. General Lane recruits John Henry and Natalie Irons before making a choice that will change everything. All right, right off the bat, I have to say, I know I'm going to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but I literally cannot see this show. It is too dark. I'm constantly pressing the brightness key on my computer or on my TV. Like, I know that that's like a thing that people are talking about, and how, it started with Game of Thrones, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. But with this show, like I'm like squinting, like I cannot see it. Like maybe waiting for like Superman's bright colors to show up, but he's so muted too. So I just had to get that off my chest.
Yeah, I have one of those programs that turns all the colors warm at night. And so if I ever am watching after sundown, I have to turn that off or I actually can't see anything at all.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So you have it even worse. So you understand my pain. I
Mhm.
Do you know like why that became a thing in TV? Like I gave up on Game of Thrones right around when that stuff got really, really bad. So I'm sure you were a Game of Thrones person through and
Mhm.
through. Did you like, I'm sure you were aware of that discourse. Do you know why that's a thing in television, especially prestige TV?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I noticed that it's not really true for comedies, right?
Right.
Like Curb Your Enthusiasm or
Right.
like they're all brightly lit and it might just be some kind of like trend, like
Right.
style thing that people just are copying.
Ugh, it's just really annoying. I really hate it. I really liked this episode. I thought it was such a great mix of action that made sense, family stuff, some intense acting, furthering the plot of all of the characters and certainly of our guy, Superman, and great flashbacks just all around. I really like this one.
I honestly started to wonder if sometimes I feel like maybe the showrunners just like figured out that Bitsy Telek is a really good actress, so they're just like, let's give her more things. Like, let's make more things happen to Lois Lane so that Bitsy Telek can act these things.
Like, yeah, we
Although
need
it's
a
often,
reason. We need
it's
a
like,
reason this week for her to cry.
right. It really feels like that just results in lots of tragedy happening to Lois Lane, which is too bad.
Yeah, I mean, the obviously the big takeaways here. I mean, we could go linearly, but let's just talk about the big takeaways, and then we can get into it a little bit. Sam Lane, who Sam Brody predicted, you said that Superman was going to get a human heart. Bam! You
I
you
don't
did
know
not
if it
predict that it was Sam Lane, but pretty good, Sam. I got to give it up to you, Professor. Like,
I don't want to take too much credit. It wasn't a prediction. I just said, why can't he get a human heart transplant?
I'll have to go back to the tape. But I mean that was just really well done to give Sam Lane, I had joked in the last episode that this guy has 9 lives. He just keeps coming back. And they did such a nice job in this episode of showing his character arc in reminding us what he was like in the first season, where he was, cold and distant and closed off and didn't and wanted Superman to just be Superman for the DoD. They reminded us of all that stuff because it's now been years since all that. He's been such a different
Hmm.
guy the last 2 seasons. He's been, cuddly fishing grandpa, not
Hmm.
cuddly, but you know what I mean. He's close with all of them. And to remind us of that through the flashbacks by showing us him even before that, when he was even colder and more distant, but his heart cracks open a little bit at the end of that wedding, and you see that he did have humanity even then. Even his introduction to us in season 1 was just a piece of who this character was. I mean, this is what they call in wrestling long-term storytelling, giving the seeing the growth of this character and then his heroic end.
Hmm.
That's a hero's arc,
Hmm.
right?
And they sort of fake you out with the beginning where you think that they're
Yes.
doing a sort of memorial for Clark, and then it turns out that it's for Sam, and that's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I made a note at the beginning. I was like, are they having a funeral without the body at a tree in their backyard for some reason? Like,
hmm.
yeah,
I did wonder why, you feel like Sam could have had
state funeral.
more public funeral with more people because it's not like his death is a secret.
Right, like, did they hand Lois the flag and all
They
that? They
didn't,
didn't do any of that. They just showed his
no,
gravestone.
yeah, the ceremony somewhere else, but they definitely didn't seem to care about us seeing it.
I think it was just an economy of time and
Yeah.
economy of funds for extras that would have
Mhm.
a big funeral scene in the rain with the color guard and the firing and the folding of it. Like, that would have been
Mhm.
a big thing. So yeah, but I mean, just
I
what a
feel like the
great,
president would be at his funeral, right?
right? Like,
Like
isn't the DoD bigger than the president?
he's a general.
Yeah.
He died defending a government institution. Like the president would be at the funeral.
Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of that, Sam, did you catch who the woman was who he was talking to at the beginning? And was he in charge or was she in charge?
You mean Hardcastle?
Hardcastle. Oh, yeah.
They gender swapped Hardcastle,
That's
who
right.
in some other versions of the story takes what is sometimes the Sam Lane role of being the anti-Superman
Oh.
army person.
Oh, so that was Hardcastle. Right. And they had a problem last season. Okay. So is she above Sam in her
I
rank,
don't
or
think so, because I think they're both generals, but maybe he's like in charge of that. Did you notice that on the building underneath Department of Defense it said something like threat reduction agency or something? Maybe he's in charge of that and then he's the one in charge. She definitely seemed like she did not have the power to refuse the request that he made.
Mm.
But I did sort of feel like that scene was kind of silly because, like, there should be some protocols to keep that from happening. Like, you should only be able to go see it if you are with a team of 20 people and you're doing a scientific experiment in a laboratory. You can't just like send it to some guy's office, you know?
Sam, I think we can agree that if not our biggest nitpick, one of our biggest nitpick is from day one is just what is the DoD? What happens there? What power do they have? What are they, a catch-all for everything in government and the army? So I think
It's
like they don't really know. They just kind of named this thing.
mhm.
Uh, and
Yeah.
borrowed some stuff from Supergirl and threw it all together.
Yeah, that is of course what happened, but I'm still going to complain every
Yeah,
time.
as you should. I mean, we're in the final season. Like, if you haven't figured it out yet, folks, like, you're losing you're losing your chance. I absolutely loved Clark's reveal to Sam, the awkward fumbling. I mean, this is just Tyler Hoechlin eating up the scenery as Clark Kent, and I love how they, without being too over the top, gave a wink and a nod to us about the glasses thing. That
Mhm.
because I got to commend Tyler's acting here. He did kind of an homage to the famous scene we've seen over and over again of Christopher Reeve taking off the glasses and
Mhm.
straightening up and truly and really transforming from Clark to
Mhm.
Superman in that scene and then going back. When Tyler took off the glasses, he looked different to me. He
Mhm.
kind of straightened up and his, obviously it's my imagination, but even his face kind of changed, his eyes. And I know we joked early on. I was like, why is Tyler always walking around the house with his glasses on? He has his
Mhm.
shirt off, but his glasses are on, like he's at home. There's no one else there. But 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 here he really did some great Clark Superman acting and switching without it being too cheesy and goofy.
I
What did you
totally
think about that?
agree. I was a little surprised at first that he didn't open his shirt too, that it was only
Mm,
the glasses, but I
mm.
think they were trying to do just what you said to give him a chance to just express with his posture and facial expression the transformation. I did briefly think they were going to do like a little slapstick humor and have Sam be like, wait, put the glasses back on. No, take them off again. No, put them back on. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I thought that they were going to do something like that, but they didn't. That was probably for the best. I would have laughed.
I thought it was great. And it was just, they're filling in all this stuff that we never got to see. The relationship of Lois and Clark and seeing their wedding, like,
Hmm.
as a devotee and stan, as the kids say, of Bitsy Talek, seeing her in a wedding dress, that's everything I needed. And like
Yeah.
to get to see their wedding and see Martha again, and Martha had the signature bun. That was really nice that was probably nice for that actor who had literally
Mhm.
only been in one episode, maybe
Right.
two in a flashback.
Yeah, totally agree. I was a little surprised maybe that they had the wedding in Smallville rather than Metropolis because of the stage of the relationship, but it's fine. Like,
Right, I think like at that point, right, because like when they moved to Smallville in the pilot, that's a big deal for Lois. Like
hmm.
she's a city kid. Like she
Right.
doesn't seem to have much. Yeah, well, maybe Lois wanted it on that farm. That's where he revealed it to her. Like now they're like they've built memories in that place since then, I
I'm sure
guess.
the venues in Metropolis are expensive as hell, and they have this gigantic farm just sitting there that they could use. I'm not gonna quibble.
Yeah, don't quit. That's all the heavy emotional stuff. The balance of that with the action. I want to get to the action in a minute, but we gotta talk about Jonathan. To use another wrestling expression, I popped. Like when when they revealed Jonathan's powers, I literally said, "Jonathan has powers." Yes. Like I loved that. I thought that was great. And I loved that he was good at everything right away. Like the quarterback kid. Like
Hmm. Yeah, I was totally surprised. I wasn't expecting them to do that at all. Already made their decisions regarding that, and like, so they definitely rope-a-dope me on that one.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it creates one of the things that's always been a bit mysterious to me is why they're making Jordan so, I don't know, dopey.
Yeah.
Especially when they make Jonathan like aware, and I sort of thought that the reason was the division of labor because like one he had the powers and Jonathan didn't, and I thought they were doing he gets from Lois and Jonathan
Right.
gets from Clark. But like now they're clearly not doing that. So it's setting up a different dynamic where Jordan is just now back to feeling totally inferiority complexed out.
Right.
which gives Jonathan an opportunity to be good at being a brother.
Yeah, and to if he wants to be like his dad, truly be
Mhm.
like his dad, which is Clark would bring them together. I gotta there's two things I want to talk about. One about Jonathan's big emotional scene, and two about Jordan. So Jordan is playing video games in his room. He's playing a racing game. Obviously, it's been well established in the pilot that Jordan is a video game kid. He was playing like Mortal Kombat one time and Madden another time. If I was a teenager and I suddenly got superpowers, and I love video games too, but if I could suddenly race around the whole world at super speed, that's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be playing a video game that like I used to lie in my bed dreaming, okay, maybe tomorrow I'll wake up with and I'll be have all the powers of Superman, right? Like I would fly to every place in the world. I would visit every video game store in the world. Like whatever the thing that I would use all my powers all the time. I wouldn't be playing video
Yeah.
games.
Well, I mean, if I was a video game kid, I would go to Tokyo.
Right.
Right.
Like, but that's what I mean. Like, it would be
Yeah.
cool if that's where Jordan was to like get away from it all instead,
Suspect it's a budget thing.
Right, right. Of course. Of
But
course.
they could still shoot a rooftop scene in a studio
And
as
pretend
if
it's
he's
Paris or something.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But probably I don't know. So maybe it's just like a habit thing. Like once
Right.
that's your thing that chills you out and cools you down, that's just like where he goes. I don't know.
I
He doesn't
guess.
have to think about anything.
Like, why doesn't he go to the fortress and play the video games there?
Does
Like,
the fortress have standard electrical outlets?
right. Does the fortress have USB-C?
I don't think it's on the grid.
No. No, he couldn't connect to Xbox Live in the fortress. Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan's big emotional scene was that was really intense. And I gotta, give it up to that actor. I mean, I actually really like that Jonathan is mad at Jordan and like needs some space in that moment. Like this is real, like sort of brother shit. And I imagine, especially with twins, and he says, "You were never trying to save dad. You were trying to be a hero, and now he's dead. My dad is dead, and I never get to see him again."
Mhm.
And then the powers happen. Like that was just a home run of a scene. I think they actually nailed it with the recasting. I think for some like
That's Michael Bishop is his name.
Michael Bishop, right? Let's give Michael Bishop his flowers. Yeah, I mean, first of all, he kind of looks like Jordan. Like they're next to each other at the funeral and they're matching shirts. Like they look like they could be brothers. I loved that whole emotional beat from him that went right into the powers thing.
Yeah, it worked really well, and he acted it really well. It was also good on Jordan's side because you could see that he was really hurt, but then he could also tell that Jonathan was in a very bad place and that like he was feeling sympathy for him, even though he was probably gonna lash out. But then, you can't lash out when the person you're lashing out against is like having a breakdown. So
Right. I assume you were happy to see John, Henry, and Nat.
yeah, of course. Then they did the
Yeah.
same thing that they did last time with Lana and Sarah, which was they just like cut to them as if it was normal and you were always seeing them.
Right.
Right. And it worked, I think.
And I like they're like it was just like, okay, we're recruiting John Henry and Nat. Let's go. And then they're
Mhm.
there. I liked all that.
Right.
No need to waste time with exposition. Like let's just get into it.
And it was more appropriate now than the last episode because of the connection to Sam. So
Right.
that she could be there when he says, the boys and Nat, we know that they developed that relationship. So it wasn't just now it's their turn. It was well connected to the story of the episode as a whole.
Absolutely. And and the John Henry wasn't we didn't have to go through any of the drama of John Henry being uptight about her using her suit. Like he recognizes her contributions now, and I loved all that. That was great. I'm wondering, like, I don't really understand what Lex's end game is here, and that's good. I think I'm just this Lex is scary and surprising. Even that scene of we didn't have much Lex in this season, but in this episode, but when Doomsday is eating what I guess what they said entrails or something. Well, I don't know what he's eating, but and Lex says comparing Doomsday to his members of the board at LexCorp, he says the difference is I like him. That's messed up. This Lex Luthor is sick.
Yeah, we don't really have any clue what his plan is.
Why wouldn't he have told the world that Clark Kent is Superman at this point? Yeah.
Hmm?
He's got a bigger end game that we just
What
haven't.
is the point of making Jordan feel bad? Why is that, just to be a dick?
Well, I mean, Lois said he's trying to drive a wedge in our family and turn us
Yeah, but
against
then
each other.
what's he gonna do with the wedge?
Right. Well, I think if he discovers Jonathan has powers, then I think they're really in trouble. But I think that he's going to try to get Jordan on his side or something, like turn to the dark side or something.
It would be nice if they can keep a secret for like
5 seconds,
yeah.
one episode.
Right. Not have Jordan have another scene with him in the next episode where he's like, well, now Jonathan has powers, so you're in trouble. Like,
You know,
just, keep a lid on it.
it's funny, like my one wish list for the next superhero thing is that no one knows the superhero has powers. I think that would be nice. If just one time you get one person, one confident. In the Superman movie, Clark can get his parents and the dog. That's it. That know his powers. Yeah. 2 questions, Sam. At what point did you realize? 3 questions. At what point did you realize, oh, Sam Lane is going to sacrifice himself for Clark and give him his heart? And then were you pleased with your own prediction? And 3, what do you think about that? How do you like that? Is that a good, the reveal of Clark's eyes opening, what all sort of the last 7 minutes?
I would not say I realized it in advance of them saying it, like at all. I was like, up until the last moment, I was thinking like, what's he doing? Is he going to turn himself into a doomsday guy? Like,
that's what I thought he was going to do. That's what I thought that serum did.
I thought the sacrifice was going to be the sacrifice of his intelligence and personality, but like a bet was being placed on the emotional nature that he would like still be on the right side and fight the other big guy instead of like fighting someone else. So I was just like totally wrong up until they said what was happening. So that was cool. And then I was happy to sort of be right from last time because I was wrong then. And it seems fine. It's just a question of what they do. Is he totally fine or is it not going to take? I mean, a heart transplant is a pretty complex operation. Laura said she had reservations. Maybe it won't be full strength.
Right.
Maybe
that might be good. They like to power up, power down Superman over the years. Maybe that's good for this show.
Yeah, maybe
for the final.
Have some powers but not others. We don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be that he's gonna be full strength, but it'll take a while. So like,
I don't think we're gonna get the long hair, unfortunately.
No, he wasn't in there long enough.
No. Yeah, they've done. I think that. I mean, he already has the beard, right? It's Tyler Eklund, and
he can never not have the beard.
Right, it's Tyler Eklund's.
Not be clean shaven.
It's funny that he played a teen wolf, he's like really in real life a very when I met him, he was the second time, it was during the strike, and he was very bushy then.
He must have not shaved for at least 2 days in that picture.
Right. Well, anything else with this delightful episode? Do you think that that Superman opened his eyes too early, or like with 10 episodes, the end of episode 3, good job?
It's fine. I don't think they needed to pretend that he wasn't coming back for longer, right? Like there was no drama to be had in that. So as long as they have a good plan for like what he's going to do, that seems fine to me.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Looking forward to seeing where they're going.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, then, till next time.
Thanks, Henry.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for listening. Our theme was composed and performed by Sam Bernstein. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another thrilling adventure of Superman and Lois and Pals.
This is Bitsy Tulloch, and you are listening to Superman and Lois and Pals.